come on. Yeah, starters are mean to go on. That's not going to work, Dave. It's not easy, this stuff. Not easy by a long shot. It's taken me half hour to set up, bring the Wi-Fi outside. I need to know if you can hear me, guys. We have an extra special live edition. We have lots. It's what you've been waiting for. The cannons are coming out. Can you hear me okay? I am going on Facebook and I am YouTube. So this one YouTube, this one Facebook. Hello, brothers and sisters, sovereigns. Sorry, I've left you. I started at 4:30 yesterday, the 25th, and I finished at 2 AM this morning, 1:30. This is the embodiment of my work. You will get this document through the .com. I'll be posting it in Facebook. You're hearing me? Okay there, brother. I'll keep names to a, discretionary. We are one family. YouTube, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. We have 3 on there. I'm live. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. It's paramount that I don't repeat this. This is the Sovereign Report, as we're calling it, brought to you by me, the man, David, the Sovereign. This is a framework and context about Roman law. Nothing written here is considered as legal advice or is to be taken as legal advice. We're going to discuss initially attorney, barrister, lawyer, in the art, practicing in the arts, art of law, the art of war. No, I said the art of law. What is legal advice and what is an attorney? So we have this compressed already. Attorney. The word attorney or attornment is from the 16th century, combining Latin words at equals to turno, T-O-R-N-O, turn or round off, meaning to consent implicitly or explicitly to transfer of a right. Hence the word attorney means literally a person to whom's rights have been transferred by consent implicitly or explicitly. Therefore, no attorney can be counsel without deliberately injuring the law and perverting the course of justice. Source Canon 2799 of Astrum Luris Divini Canonum. Barrister. The word barrister is from the late 16th century, combining the Latin words B-A-R-O, barrow, equals dunce, incompetent, plus S-T-O, oblique stare, S-T-A-R-E, to stand firm, to be in position, meaning to stand, represent, a dunce or incompetent. Hence, the meaning is a student of the law, of the private guild that has been called to the bar. Therefore, no barrister can be counsel without deliberately injuring the law and perverting the course of justice. Source Canon 2800 of Astrum Luris Divini Canonum. Lawyer. The word lawyer is from the late 16th century. You're getting it again, combining the Latin words, what happened in the 16th century. Lar, L-A-R, oblique lares, L-A-R-E-S, equals customary law. I-U-R-O, euro, urare, to swear, take an oath, to conspire, meaning literally one who has sworn an oath to customary law of the private guild. Hence the true and original meaning of lawyer is one who is authorised and licensed by the private guilds of the L London Temple BAR to practice law. Therefore, no lawyer can be counsel without deliberately injuring the law and perverting the course of justice. Source Canon 2798 of Astrum Luris Divini Canonum. The art of law, L-A-W. In the 13th century, in Florence, the Medici, M-E-D-I-C-I, the same as medicine, the Medici organised merchants into private system of 5 major guilds called the Arti Mediane, A-R-T-I-M-E-D-I-A-N-E, and 7 minor guilds called Arti Minori. Occult guilds called Arti from the word art is derived, next to the cloth and wool merchants, who were also the first Bankers and Art di Giudici e Note, or the Guild of Judges and Notaries, has historically been the second most powerful of network of guilds for over 720 years. Instead of using Anglo-Saxon concept of placitum, places of justice, the private guilds created courts from cautio, cortio, meaning literally bonding, securitization and bailment of oaths, vows and sureties for profit. The oldest organised, well, some might call it a crime syndicate, dedicating to law corruption in history. That's a shout out to Jacadis, Quataloos, all the federal attorneys, the state attorneys, the penitentiaries, the judiciaries, the network of the statutory guild, the temple BAR. Nice to meet you guys. We see you. I'm not here to practice the occult here today. I am not a liar, nor am I a lawyer, nor am I a barrister. I have not taken anything away, nor will I. I am here to add to your intelligence only, to raise the consciousness. This is a product of Sovereign Paralegals Facebook family. This information and body of words has been constructed by my own consciousness. It is not my work though. It is the intellectual property of our family, our private family, and our public family yet to know who they are to become private. So right now I am claiming what? Let's think. I'm going to claim copyright, common law copyright and trademark right claims upon this body of work. It's going to be put into the domains public and private, well, the Facebook private trust, and it's going into the private domain. And I'm also giving it to the YouTube family that are here now listening, and I'm going to give it to you guys in Facebook, and it will be available for download. One moment please, we have an intermission. Hello. Oh, you're just coming to see? You coming outside?
This one is problem.
What's problem?
On the,
oh, the cable.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, my darling. Oh, the black cable's interfering with the... We like perfection, guys. We strive for perfection. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Look at that. Look at that. Sorry about the backdrop. I know it's what, 30 degrees on the 26th of June. This is just the importance of the context here. It's not about the vest, the skinhead, anything like that, the background. Listen and make notes. We're going to have a heavyweight hangout about this. I have so much to catch up on. I am not going to be you know, about as much, but you will find me. You can contact me. I have to prioritize this, the priority. We continue. So that was a disclaimer about the property, where it's come from. Aim to have done this work. This is not possible to have been done by one man. We established in November 2015. We're less than 3 years old. This is a product of their minds, the admins, and you will see how it transpires through the journey of the into us meeting well, us finding out and discovering about trust and equity, saying hello to brother Richard and asking him if he could give us some guidance and some structure and direction about possible avenues of exploration with regard to credit, debtor, contract, tacit, tort, adhesion. So yeah, respect for that, brothers. Everybody that's helped us so far, that's had an input, YouTube, Facebook, privately, seminar. This is you. This is from you. It's not from me. I'm just a facilitator. And we at splspro.com and in the trust are not about getting around law. This is about the rule of law, equity of law, fairness of law, integrity, respect, honesty, virtue. It's your choice to claim a status as a victim or be accountable and competent for your own actions. So what we, splspro.com are doing is not to get around the law. I need to be really clear about this. We are here to inform you of whom and what you are. We express the knowledge, rule and fairness of and equity of law. It is your choice to be a victim or accountable and competent for your own actions. It is your choice to choose the status you like. Remember that there are consequences and sequence after the con for our actions, and knowing who and what we are. Knowing that is having half of the remedy. What is competence? Wow. Competence, ability to reason, think logically through knowledge and skill, wisdom. Competence is the fictional concept of being fit and proper and qualified to produce and argue reason, through knowledge and skill or logic and rhetoric against opposing arguments. Therefore, a man or woman cannot claim competence without demonstrated skill at reason, argument and knowledge and suitable qualification. Competence may also be used in the context of juridic persons having sufficient authority and qualification within the limits of their statutes. Source here. You get the document. Your divine person or soul is always competent. Very, very important. As the divine person who is also part of the divine creator, a divine person is always considered competent. Your true person or flesh and mind may or may not be competent. Yeah. Wow. Competence is knowing something and knowing how to use it. Your divine person or soul is competent. We always will say this. If your soul, essence, that thing which is from the greater divine, from you, how can it be incompetent? Your soul and spirit cannot be. It is an insult to suggest such a notion. In life, we often find that someone who looks trustworthy turns out not to be trustworthy. The Roman civil system tricks our minds and makes us believe we are mortal and as such sinners. So just like the cold callers at your doors, beware and be aware. So competence in terms of flesh and mind can be tricked. It's about convincing us about being regarded and how we're regarded, and accepting that we are mortal animals and not having a divine spark. So your biggest accolade and main competency is knowing whom, what you are. We so easily often forget about this when we talk about law or court, as the court claims its ultimate authority, in essence, in ecclesiastical laws. Square and centre, the essential thing to remind yourself is the following. You are a spiritual being, possessing a unique mind expressed in flesh. We are a tripart, we are a tribunal, and we need to remember these things. We are not animal or just a member of the Homo sapiens species. We have a mind and therefore an ability to discern. I, man, am. Logic, illogic, what is true, what is false, what is the universe. The oldest civilizations in the world knew that life, it is a dream. Indians, aborigines, tribes, womb men, everywhere. We are speaking today on a land where the custodians of this land are central to the culture for 70,000 years. I need to check that, but roughly. They know that not only was life a dream, but that we could connect to that dream and knowledge of how to connect. See Edgar Casey, The Sleeping Prophet, for one, and and ESP connections, how the mind affects matter. Look at that, ESP, mind control projects. How to connect and how to respect that connection was intrinsic to their culture. That is the story of America, Australia and other such historic continents, Mexico, Africa. The story of the Dreamtime paradigm. The universe is an amoral system, not an immoral system or even being, meaning it is neither good nor bad. The universe as a whole, the divine creators as a whole, however, the universe will react in favor of free will and resist tyranny. This is an extremely important issue because I assure you now, the people that architected the world today at the top of the tree, not the trolls, not the mid-ranks, not the bankers, but the people whom invented the world, the matrix as we know it today, very much understand this principle, and it is why they have survived in power for so long. You will soon start to see how. That's very important. We've had messages given to us. We've got the Georgia Guidestones. We've got the law of attraction, the power of intent. We've got proclamations, declarations. We've got agendas, public speakers, everything. Lots of first-hand knowledge. You are part of a unique collective awareness. The divine creator and the personification of the divine creator. You immerse yourself in the thought, potentiality, consciousness. If I know who and what I am, if I am sovereign in my own domain, then why do I need to go through this whole notice process with the Roman cult? The answer is you do not. If you know who and what you are, in essence, you don't have to prove it to anybody. Just know that the system, if it does not know, is designed to grow on, because they have such perversions. That's what they are, perversions, like silence is consent. This is not a true law, in my opinion. This is something that the establishment and societies have invented. We class this, the logic mind as ridiculous. They place some of their most important signs in plain sight. Do any of you recognize these symbols? And on here we've got like a little bit of a, you know, I have spent time to take stuff from videos. It's not my work, it's not my art, it's not my screenshots, but it's done in a Word document, but what you're going to get is a presentation. When I go to the meeting, Rob Keeling, respect and love for one name I will mention, is in the public realm doing the speech at the seminar at York Railway Institute on the 4th of August, Saturday. I've confirmed to go there and take part in the speech. So this is going to be my presentation. It's a test run of my speech to tell the lawful rebellion, practical lawful dissent, inform a British Constitution group, all of the family, how we now see it and what we have to deal with and to back it up. Substance over form, literally. When we first come to this, it was a lot of this. Proclamations and, you know, assumptions and conspiracies. Now we're on it. What does that say? Testing competency, worshipping flesh and materiality. If you worship in ignorance and ignore perspective, then you declare yourself incompetent. Oculus omni, all-seeing eye of Lucifer, the symbol of the Emperor of Rome, 71 to CE to 117 CE, symbol of Jesuit superior general as Lucifer, Lord God of earth, from 1534 to present day. If you worship Lord God or God as the name of the supreme being, then you knowingly or unknowingly worship men as gods, therefore declaring yourself incompetent before universal laws. Money and coin has always been minted in honor of Lucifer from the first millennium BCE as Lucky Fear, Celtic god, good fortune, lucky fears coming up, lucky fortunes, God, skill. If you worship money, then you declare yourself incompetent before the universe. USA, what does it say on your Federal Reserve banknotes? Get me out. Dollar, in God we trust. Which people in power may appear to worship money, the people that control the world know the difference and avoid being in dishonor with the universe. They have karmic retribution. They balance it out. It's deep. Testing competency, public notice versus free will. You are given constant public notice and choice. The rest is up to you. Matrix, the world is an illusion. Your purpose is a source of energy for an automated system. You are less than a slave. You are considered less than a slave. I'm not calling you that. This is not this is our research. Your system is not only automated, it is broken and needs to be rebalanced, taken down and reconstructed. Yet most people prefer to remain asleep. World war, terrorism, recession, you know, and crisis are all games of the elite. If you are a 33-degree Mason, I'd have an understanding of all these different levels, but even all that information will be excluded from you. So it's testing competency. If you worship Lucifer or if you worship the Lord God, if you go and read the original Greek or the original Latin from which they claim to have created the King James Bible, in the opening sections of this Bible, they do not use the word God or Lord God. That's the English translation. They use words like Elohim, El Sabra, different words that do not translate to Lord God. It means something entirely different. Thank you. Chiron last, that man there. The golden web, cha-ching. Elohim ultimately means a collection of a spirit, or as the Sumerian would say, the Anunnaki, a group, collective rather than a one. When we speak of the divine creator, we are speaking of something far greater than a god or a Lord God. If you worship something as a Lord God, knowingly what this ultimately is, the Oculus Omni, then you actually are worshipping a man or men as gods. Would that put you in dishonor with the divine? Do you think one has got clean hands? If you worship other beings as gods rather than worship the true creator, would that put you in dishonor? This is what they are doing and want to happen. They are testing your competency, and up until now 99.95 of our extended family are thus upon this plane are failing and taking as surety for these fictional debts and accepting the title and public liabilities. It's exactly what the system wants, as it technically means that they are the only ones in honor. It is perverse, bizarre, brilliant, and that's why these tyrants have been in power for so long. Lucky fear, from which we get Loki the god. I am sure you have heard of that before. He was a Celtic god of good fortune, gold and skill. Always money has been dedicated to lucky fear, and they have put it into plain sight. They have, throughout history, embedded these symbols and variants of them in plain sight. Also, visit the Georgia Guidestones online. Part 1 done of 4. Your purpose is as a source of energy for an automated system. Alice in Wonderland. World War terrorism. So they have been continuously testing our mental minds and competency, demonstrated throughout the ages via public notices under a doctrine of notices versus your free will, my free will. Meet you at the temple. Your will. Man needs a will. So we have been indoctrinated into their dirty. Then, much like the film and the Hollywood production, The Matrix, what does this film and its subtext tell us? The film by the Wachowski brothers, American-born Polish, depicts thus: the world is an illusion. Your sole purpose is to function as a source of energy for an automated system. You might call it a blockchain, a fourth industrial crypto revolution. That will, much like is what taking place right in June 2018, the year of our Lord. You, we, I have become considered legally to be essentially valued as an asset lower than a slave status. Does that sound familiar to you or the actual world outside, how it seems to be? Could they have given us a better public notice than the messages contained within the Matrix? Do you really think they made it clear? Did any of you, think, that doesn't quite sit well? Who took some acid and made that film? They even tell us what is wrong with the system in the film. I am saying that it is obvious and it hits you in the boat race like a wet kipper. A teenager would be able to assimilate the core messages written into this Hollywood production. See also Diane Jesse Miller's One by One and Jupiter Ascending, and also the Humanity Bureau, to name a few. The system, Wizard of Oz. The systems are not only automated, it is broken, needs to be rebalanced, and yet most people prefer to remain asleep. Have you ever tried to explain this concept and conceptualization to somebody who is in investment banking, money, finance, commerce, contract, public area, civil service, anything like that, agents? They don't know, they're not trained. The general public public notices via free will. As people want to stay asleep, we try to make direct correlations with the text and subtext of the Matrix trilogy, and to get told that the Matrix and our opinions has nothing to do with the real world. We are all free, our brethren exclaim. And as for this concept of trust, this concept of estates, that's all myth, isn't it? Old-fashioned stuff. We have moved on now with constitutional rights and bills, etc., the Magna Carta, cryptocurrency. This is where we're actually at, mixed up. Man's forgotten his roots, his realm, his worth, his dominion. This is my sovereign family, and crimes are afoot. It is a crime against man and must be reconciled forthwith. The UK, aka the United Kingdom, is the Commonwealth. The UK can't be registered as a corporation, as a business. Surely, I live here. That's why here. The UK and Greater L London are not connected with Washington and the Crown of London, not to mention the offshore tax havens we have discovered and Washington connection with the Vatican. I live in a body as a sentient, intelligent entity housed in a vessel, and I am not bonded for the corporate arena. I reside or dwell where my head lay. It's preposterous, poppycock, and the boy needs therapy is what they cry. Well, money is a debt. There is no money or backing. We are using a fiat system that is designed to fail. They all do. Man is committing suicide over imaginary debt. We are all trading bankrupt, and our promise to pay the instrumentation and promissory notes is as good as gold. Our promise to pay is as good as gold, as there is no gold or any kind of intrinsic value in our commerce and trading. Using this credit note system, the controlling chains and the infrastructure of the crown are now to be removed. Babylon is falling. This hath been foretold many eons ago. We are the new age. My corporate person, as I say, is not bonded for the corporate commercial arena, and we and they are to move over to the private. I am the bondsman of Christ. I have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are my witnesses to this testimony, fact and the truth. With all this information, yeah, it's a testimony, that's right. And with all this information being so readily available on the internet, this information is easy to find. It's right in plain sight. Yet brothers and sisters refuse to believe what they see, what evidence man prepares and brings forth for them. They prefer to live in ignorance. In an age of information, ignorance, my friends, is a choice, a free choice, a freedom, a free will. You see the law, thinking, connectivity. It takes many indigos and light workers and non-logical thinking, not authoritarianisms, but ones that resist self-authoritarianisms, to look at this and to extract it and to see it and to face the truth firsthand. We haven't gone anywhere and gone into any secret club to give you this. You know, continuously voting in the red and the blues. I wonder why. It has always been somber news. Two heads of the same bird. One brain, two wings. Free will, that is our choice. Remember what I referred to at the beginning of this document video, or rewind it and it will then click into place. Have you seen Alice in Wonderland? Through the Looking Glass. Alice, you're a pawn on a chessboard. You're an amusement for the elite families. The Red and White Queen, they are related. They are sisters, aren't they? Elite families, until you wake up to the fact you're asleep to reality. So over here, World War. Over there, terrorism. Over there, recession, crisis, misery. What are we at now? What's the word of the moment? Austerity. It's all games. It's all games of the elite. Until you stand up and face the demons, you remain at their will. You are a pawn. You are less, considered less than a slave. Free will. Sacred law, contract law, Salic law, maritime law, trust law, admiralty law, international law, administrative law. Let's start at the beginning. What does law actually mean? Well, when you look at that symbol on there, it makes you feel a little bit like that. What? You know, I'm not trying to put anybody into some kind of seizure, but that's what law is. Oh, you look at it and it sends your brain, you know, spiraling. Let's start at the beginning. What does law actually mean? Where do we start? This is not designed to study as the circle itself. It's just there for, you know, rhetorical reasons, to illustrate, you know, how we feel. It's not a bad image to sort out the segue into where we start, because it kind of creates that sickening effect in you, really. When you try and think of where to start or what to do, you often feel, oh, it's not easy, it's nasty, it makes you feel, it shouldn't be. There are courts, it's our system, it's our law, it's our right. Why do we feel sick? Why are we sick? Think of where to start. You know, all the dads that have got ostracised, all the legal stuff that's going off at the minute. This is just unbelievable what I'm hearing. Find out that someone else has committed suicide over a fictitious debt, I'm going to start to get angry. I know they're happening every minute all across the world. It's just that some people that we know that are in the family, it's not nice. It really hits you there. So it creates a sickening effect when you look at law and when you try to immerse yourself in it. When you think of where to start or what to do, who to speak to, where to go, what to read, you know, hence the .com and the domain. Later on you find out it's not true. The law is deliberately designed to be confusing, and it is an occult art, occult secret, suppressed, you know, arrested. Guess who lies to you first? The law. In law, guess who lies to you? The law lies to first. It lies to the lawyers. I know that. My mum was studying law. The first person to lie to, the law lies to the lawyers, and then it lies to us. You read their dictionaries, such as Black's Law, constant revisions. They're on number 10 now. The jurisprudence, their case law, thousands and thousands and thousands of pages to find one relevant fact. That's not efficient or even fair, is it? Equality is paramount. Remember the maxims of law. You could take all sorts. You could take all of that and you could present it in a consolidated format, and you could take all the law that's ever been written in the world, you pretend it's all in a good solid form, and you could read it, and yes, it would probably be quite a large collection, but you could see it all in plain sight, all in one volume and publication. But that's not how the law is designed, is it? So there are apparently 64 million laws in USA states and local federal penal codes. I think they said something like 20 million allegedly in the UK. I'm not sure. I'd like that to be confirmed. How many statute codes have we got in the United Kingdom right now, please? June 2018. So that many codes and laws, alleged laws, public statutory ones in one country is impossible even for one army of men to comprehend. So out of all these laws, let's start at the beginning. What does law actually mean? It is a rule, standard, a norm, permitting or prohibiting certain actions. Laws are aimed to come from many sources, including religion, agreement, legislation, science, and custom. Common law. Let's start with the obvious question. What does law actually mean? If you want to upset a lawyer, ask them, what is the law? I know what the law is. What is the law? Because I am an educator, and I am an educator. Where's that just come from? I've just got sent that from the clear blue skies. What? I should have that now playing on here. I need a theme tune, don't I? Somebody get this video, download it, and put me some nice theme tune onto it after this has been done. You have the permission to share this video. Okay? This video has public permission for information, study, and reference, and to prove the origination source of the conceptualization of the paradigms of which we are finding ourselves in. And I am entrusted with this as the as the shepherd trustee. Let's start with the obvious question. The law is rules, standards, norms for meaning or prohibiting certain actions. It really is that simple. I know I'm repeating it, so there's a point to it. It took me ages. It's taken 10 hours to do this, guys, and I'm giving it away straight after it's been done. We need to check omissions, errors, revisions, edits, take this, you know, work with it. And it comes from all these different groups, religion, blah blah blah, customs, like the Roman cult, the pagan Roman Empire. So laws kind of come from many sources, including the above. That's generally speaking what the law is. How much battery full? How much battery full? And it comes from the highest laws, as we are now finding out. Steve McRae, Richard Ansar, certain other speakers. They are canons. The canons are rules, bar norms, maxims, measures or standards, uncontested over time, the paradigm of time and space. Much of the visible and hidden laws of the world are claimed from Roman law via Vatican Roman Catholic law. Symbol diagram for you, chiefs, shields, wreaths, little bits of clues. Ecclesiastical laws, the highest laws are canons. Why? How? Canon, all law that is this is amazing. I've never heard this on any other channel, any other speaker. I haven't copied this. This has come from SPL some time ago in a private message chat with a very, 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 very trusted and loved international brother on a different landmass. Wow. Canon. All law is first auricular, A-U-R-I-C-U-L-A-R, spoken. From the beginning of civilization to the present day, all law is still considered spoken into life. It's not written into life. Laws begin as bills, which are read into, monarchs and leaders pronounce laws into existence. Officials are invested into office after speaking an oath. Defendants are to attend and present or represent their defence at hearings, not speakings. Court cases are founded on the sacrament of a confession. The modern day legal system may forget this maxim, but it remains paramount that all law is first auricular. Proceedings and events are recorded into the record. Intention and conveyance between two parties is memorialized into a deed. Indeed. Canons are rules, bar, norms, maxims, measures and standards, uncontested, key word over time, uncontested. So if there is a maxim that is used across a range of cultures and time periods and is uncontested, then it is more than a maxim, it is a canon, my learned friends, brothers, family, sisters. I know you don't know much about canons, neither does David and the fam. We know bits, we know guys that do. and we are liking what we are learning. And here you can see how canon law is very much a matter of control. Again, in plain sight, you see the laurel wreath here of square through the Vatican, its keys. See the wreath in the Masons, the wreath in the Senate, and of course, the United Nations, all in plain sight. The whole system is based on canon law. Much of the laws of the world are claimed from Roman cult law, Vatican law, and canon law. See my other videos and on the channel for that, we've demonstrated, cited Walter Vaith, Santos Bonacci, to name a few there. Now you know the foundation of law of their system, the root of their system is canon law. Here is a canon, a maxim. All law is first auricular, spoken. Have you heard that before? Get to the comments afterwards, I can't stop. So from the beginning of civilization to present day, 25 of the 6th 2018, 25th of June 2018, the year of our Lord, all law is still considered spoken into life. If it's not, correct me please, let me know, direct me to. It is not written into life. You wouldn't know that if you have ever been to a de facto magistrate's court, though, for parking fines or traffic infractions, would you there, family? You wouldn't know. They think that they make the law there. They think they are the law. What? Do you know who I am? I am the magistrate. I am the district judge. I am. What preposterous. Stick this up, yeah. Trumpus. Right. No emotion. Let's keep professional. De facto magistrates court, see where the emotion come from. Then it's subconscious, it just happens. We need to control that. We need to remain professional, calm, constructed, intelligent, methodical, auricular. But the reality is that law is, now you know, auricular. And if you think about it, if you see signs of spoken knowledge and the importance of spoken knowledge versus language in all of the cultures where the right to know was done by, well, the right to know, the Dogon tribe, for instance, through or via initiation. It wasn't that there was an absence of written knowledge. Their paintings and pictograms were all writings, you know, alphabetic sense. As we read, you know, their writings were all forms writings, alphabets, you know, evidence of, including, or as were such things as the Celts in their symbols, were all forms of writings, again in an alphabetic sense. As we read here, it was considered an abomination because it was way of transmitting something to someone who may have no right to know what it meant. So we see, for the tens of thousands of years, the law, the very beginnings of our civilization, comes from this intrinsic, what's that word? I said intrinsic canon. And we see it's in all the language they use with us, laws, beginners, bill, which are, you know, first read, the reading, second, reading into handside monarchs, and leading leaders pronounce laws, rogette or irrigation. It is all speech. Officials are invested in office after speaking an oath. Read above. All law is then auricular. Hence, knowing whom and what you are is fundamental. Hold on tight, kids. Are you ready? We're nearly halfway through. I think I might need a cigarette. Because all the paperwork that you may do and all the remedy that you may subscribe to may amount to naught, zero, zilcho, nothing, in the sense that because of your day in court, you know, your day of truth may come down to you in this role of speaking. It is not easy being a public speaker. It is not the easiest of things to do. You guys are beautiful. I love you, and I've got some of the nicest subscribers on YouTube, and I'm very honoured and privileged to have the interaction, the comments. There's something massive coming up in a week for YouTube. Facebook, you can get involved, but for the family, I'm going to chat. We're going to network up. That's all I can say there, but you know, it's good that we have got the relationship that we've got, and we know who, you know, about intrinsic, and this is fundamental, you know, the remedies and what we subscribe to. And be it speaking in the public, you get you get shot down for it. So we have to put it in a certain way and capacity in the legal realm and the honourability. And as I said at the beginning about the barristers, lawyers, what they are, what they do, get the citation and the codes for that, reference it, documents, dictionaries, prints, case law, and all of this. It's not been easy, you know, and there's a massive point to this. I'm going to carry on, but public speaking, death threats, anything like that, be careful when you do this. Protect yourself as much as you can. David Jeremita is doomed, basically. He has in one sense been honourable in front of the sacred contract, and with regards to the cult, David, we needed to speak to you. You are coming back to the Italia. Why? You speak too much, my friend, you know? No. For all my wrongs that I've done up to this day, this document is why. And if I get pulled down for it and I get criticised for it, good. That means that we get to the end. I make mistakes, I can. But I'm not only human after all, you know, I am the creator after all. You know, don't put the blame on me. No, put the blame on me. I did it. I said it. What of it? It was me. I did it. I am here, the man in the personam. Yes, with honour, with clean hands. This is just quite emotional, to be fair, and I'm not going to probably come out for a bit. I might need to hide. This is quite draining. It's been a massive effort. You got to give big love to Anne-Marie for putting up with this crazy conversion in our family paradigm and everything. And public speaking's not easy. I used to DJ. I'm an entertainer. I take it down. Mikey, M-I-K-double-E. I take it down on Mikey. Yeah, I want to give you devotion. That's my proclamation done. Back to the script. Public speaking is not the easiest of things to do. No, not in a situation where the whole room is designed to intimidate you, initiate you, the judge, the rooms, the secret doors. Your strongest weapon in law is to know who and what you are. Fact. End of. This is something they have no remedy against. If they have, let me know. I don't think they have. Fact one. Canon. A controversy in law must be resolved. End of. We're halfway through. Yippee-ki-yay, I hear you shout. Canon. A controversy in law must be resolved. Similar to the canon, all debts must be paid and all contracts in law must be honoured. You are the principal and the surety for all council taxpayers, dodgers, confused guys, bills, municipal services, court charges, anything like that. When one brings a controversy before the law, it must be resolved in law. So, similar to the canon, all debts must be paid and all contracts must be honoured. When one brings a controversy before the law, it must be resolved in law. Again, if that's not right, tell me why. Get some, come on, enough's enough. When a controversy in law is raised, it cannot be ignored. It might be unfair, unjust, wrong, but the burden rests on us to prove the flaws in the system. He who makes the claim is provided, you know, the burden to... It's not right, it's deception. Oh really? Tell me why. Because my mate Dave says. Where's your mate Dave? He's not here, is he? Guilty. You're muttering. Justice is to honour the essence of the living law through due process in rendering judgment, demonstrating fair remedy. Source, canon 2746 of Astrum Luris Divini Cananum. That makes sense, but what we are saying here is all debts must be paid and all contracts be honoured, and anyone that brings a controversy before the law, it must be resolved. In other words, where there is smoke, there is fire. If somebody has raised an issue or claim against you, it will not go away. It will ultimately require resolving one way or the other. We have to face up and deal with it, so it's a canon, it's a fact. So when an unfounded, unfair, unfortunately the burden rests on us to prove the systemic flaws, it is important for us to remember this fact, my brothers and sisters. Justice is to honour the essence of living law through due process, rendering judgment and demonstrating fair remedy, equitable remedy, using the rule of law and the CPR, not the force of law or the full force of the law, whatever that may be. Common law, then equitable laws and trust relationships. So, there is such a thing as justice. It does exist. Even if we find none of it in the present system, it doesn't mean that it is a false flag. It doesn't mean that it is an illusion. A claim not contested in law. Yes, unrebutted, we know. Yes, you know, it stands true. Silence is consent. Claims brought in law that are not contested or rebutted then stand true. Hence, silence is considered consent. Considered consent, all right? Silence is considered consent. Not silence is consent. Do you know that the fundamental reason that people get summary judgments against them is that they have failed to submit? Okay? I'm going to be careful here now. YouTube, I know you're on this. My family in the Facebook Trust, Sovereign Paralegals, get on this, all right? And I know there's going to be a lot of you waiting on this, and I know when I speak some stuff and I do public, you know, announcements, declarations, proclamations, updates and reviews, that some of you are on it straight away. So as soon as this video cast finishes on YouTube, I will get another 150 views within the hour. Let's do an experiment. When we shut this test down, and view wise, I do want you to share it actually, so this isn't a fair test. Because of the subject matter, it might go quicker, but I estimate normally there's a minimum of 100 views, you know, on this. So I'm going to get some kickback from this, and I want it. In fact, I will set up a hangout, an intelligent, respectful, honourable, articulated hangout for this. And we will talk about it, because it was written in the morning early on. This is the halfway through, so I was about at 12 AM here to 10 past 12. And summary judgments is a hot topic. It's a business of the Crown, really. The Crown de facto magistrates and, you know, judiciaries in themselves are getting a lot of summary judgments going through. It can happen within 5 or 10 minutes, yeah? We've seen and heard about them. So a lot of people getting summary judgments against them is because they have failed to submit through the procedure of the court any form of a rebuttal or contract via joinder, knowingly or unknowingly. I need to change that word, submit. They have failed to notice is what we need there. So I'll pick that up. Through the procedure of the court, any form of rebuttal we do not submit, and we do not appeal, we repeal. So the fundamental reason that people get summary judgments against them is they have failed to notice through the procedure of the court any form of rebuttal or contract via joinder, knowingly or unknowingly. Yet, yes, this system is unjust and the claims are unfounded. But if you do not use their procedures and you stand there, it stands there and it's in a state that is unfounded, then you have just given them a free kick. If you want to see the system change, make them work for a living to show and justify what they are in fact doing. Do not make it easy for them, and do not allow others to promote systems that make it easier for the system to take us down. If you want to make it easy in a magistrate's court or a district anywhere in the world, it is to ignore this canon. So if one comes to a civil claim against one's legal person, you, as we see it, have two choices when you go to the hearing. If the fact claimed by the claimant, or the facts claimed by the claimant, the complaint could be the facts, well, you summarise it with facts, claimed by the claimant are not rebutted, then a summary judgment will be rendered in about 5 or 10 minutes. It's a business. You either counterclaim or rebut their claim. If it is a counter claim, very important in the counterclaims, a very important issue that I'm discovering and I need to get out there is that you never reference their claim. It never references their claim. It merely presents the facts that may be used in another claim in a contrary manner. In other words, as Andy would say, it is using the same events for presenting them in It's using the same events for presenting them differently, and by virtue of that, the judge is forced to make a decision between the two claims. If you reference their claim even once in a counterclaim, then procedurally, that claim is then thrown out. It is a trick we are seeing. It is being used a lot. There are actually a lot of other speakers out there with no court experience, and they are promoting incompetence, plain and simple. We have used our due diligence, and finally now, in the year 2018, have the substance over the form. Hence, myself and the family in our trusts building the private domain and expanding our digital online university. If you hear people saying you do not have to justify, you do not have to defend, just ignore it, please interrogate that and be very careful about that. If you want the system to change, make them work for it, and do not make it easy for them to take us down, put in the claims, and, you know, manage the estates. Canon, authority of law is hierarchical. Me. Canon, authority of law is hierarchical. Divine law is the highest law, followed by natural law, then positive law, the laws of man and woman. Womb-man. Got some little pictures and that because I know that it makes it easier. Admiralty law, maritime law, administrative law, contract law and international law are all forms of positive law and are the lowest forms of law, in our opinion, as it seems what we're finding. Thank you to everybody on YouTube that's put up them comments and international codes in Australia, Canada, what we're getting the feedback from there. It's brilliant. I've got a present for you, international family. I've got a big present for you in this at the end. Another canon, authority is hierarchical. The law is hierarchical. It is not surprising that the centre of our culture is religion. It is not surprising to cognize that we are more than what this is. Then in essence, for our want of a better world is religion. So it is unsurprising that divine law is the highest form of canon law, the laws that are allegedly transmitted from some other realm or sometimes found on gold tablets or stone tablets. But divine law, that speaks of a higher purpose or a higher being or way of living, followed by natural law, the law of science and physics, that we are flesh vessels, we will all die. These are the natural laws. Interestingly, in the last, I've put 100 years, I need to check this out. I was tired. It's not verbatim. It's as close as. It's very good. In the last 100 years, we find our brilliant bar people, our brilliant lawyers that are trying to wriggle out of these positive laws into natural laws. Could be 500 years. I might have made a typo. Positive laws into natural laws have, for example, you ever heard of America, USA, Canada, and Australia? Hey man, are you a sovereign citizen? Hey man, you a sovereign? We got a book about this sovereign citizen shit. No, I'm not a sovereign or a natural person in law. UK, Anglo. You are a natural person, are you? What? Poppycock. An absolute perversion. A person is a fiction. It's part of the natural kingdom of laws. Positive law, of course, is the base, and when we are in positive law, maritime, admiralty, contract, international, they are all forms of positive law, and they are all, in our opinion, and this, the lowest forms of law. So you see, only these canons are the highest form of law, but there is a structure to canon law as well. Canon or property is a right belonging to a trust. Baby, little pictures for you there, because it makes it simpler. Because it's very complicated and it's hard to make a complicated thing simple. That's what they're masters at, especially for the man that speak too much. Canon, all property is a right belonging to a trust. Property is fictional concept. Call a right of use. You can't physically hold your home, but you can hold title granting or limited right of use. You have real physical home, grantor, executor at the top, trustee or administrator, fictional right of use as property, beneficiary, trust, res, house, property, asset. In our daily lives, we deal with hundreds of trusts associated with property, whether we realise it or not. We've pointed that out to you in the previous videos as well, as simply as we possibly could. Here is another canon. All property is a right belonging to a trust. It is one of the hardest transitions in living to go from. The realization that we do not own the physicality of the iron horse, car, automobile, property. We have a right to use the iron horse, car, automobile, property, but you cannot own it in the sense that you see it as a physical connection to you. I know quite a few of you right now that will be shouting at the screens and be saying, what? Indigo, governor, hold on and stay with the governor, please. That knows how we do it. An example above is of a house. You can't wrap your arms around that house, can you? You cannot hold it. And I believe the rule of ownership is thus. If you cannot possess it and you cannot hold it, then ultimately you cannot really own it. In that sense, you can own the fiction of the house, the financial piece of paper, the rights of use, the title, but you cannot own the physical. Because we are talking about fictions. One of the great achievements of the disinformation age of the last 30 years is to put up a giant beware of the dog sign whenever we are to venture into the world of fictions. Fictions are bad, fictions are really bad, fictions are evil, fictions are going to get you in trouble. But are they really the problem? Yes, I know, controversial, isn't it? No, the problem, as we are now starting to see it, is the world is a fiction. Remember, life was but a dream. We have nothing to fear about fiction except fear itself and how they use it against us. So let's extrapolate and examine this. You guys know this channel and how my crazy mind works and how I go around the block and recircle to bring it all back and together for you in a fragmented, articulate, way. It's what I do. It's what I believe I was put here to do. And I hope now that this is all starting to become clearer for you. And this has taken, believe me, quite some arrangements. Life is nothing but a dream, rowing gently, gently down the stream. There's nothing intrinsically evil about this concept of the trust. It is only when we don't cognise how it works, or even we don't know. We're in a public statutory trust and the relationships are misconstrued and we're left with possessory title and legal trust position, title, and not allodial ones. They have been using thus against us in our ignorance. They have left us with a debased language. Oh, Romley Stewart, thank you for that. Justinian deception. And now we are starting to add the bass. Laird, DJ, Jeremita, Speed Garage and underground bassline master is here to revitalise your language and add some bass in the place. We are about to rebase this land's communicative abilities. We are no longer to be handicapped at law and with the phonetics and the debased language. So in our daily lives, we do actually deal with hundreds of trusts associated with property. We create them hundreds of times a day. Example, Dad, can I borrow the car? Can I borrow mate, can I borrow a DVD, please? Sure, bring it back by Tuesday. I've taken the time previously to introduce you all into trusts and the domain on splspro.com. We will there further continue to strive and bring all this technology, NTT, November Tango Tango, to you. New trust technology. See also Richard Ansar, Christian Walters, Winston Shrout, Romley Stewart, Steve McRae. Trust in no particular order. Trusts are our intrinsic element of the way property as a fiction works. They do not want you to know this, as once you do start to see the essence of the architect's design and the matrix, just like Neo in the Matrix, reaching into Agent Smith, we now have discovered Kalima. Indiana Jones, Kalimar Shook Decay. No, we have now discovered the integral, intricate design of the lair and dominion of business in Roman civil laws. And all the laws I have so far, or we and the family have so far introduced you to competently. You can now start to see how they have managed to use the financial and the laws of property, bondage and surety, and what they are doing when you ultimately contemplate or do go into their courts. I am an educator. I am an educator. You've got the big man there. What? Big man. Right then. Get into big man things now. Proper gangsters. Here we go. You want to know about gangsters? You want to think you're a gangster? You know anyone that thinks they're a gangster that's out on the street, on the ends, in the manor? Go to this part. Fast forward the video. It's for you gangsters out there, you guys that walk with limps and your 2 chains and you're coming in a black Benz, leaving in a white Benz, you know what I mean, that think you've got all the material, commodities and wealth. When this system oppresses you, it challenges your bloodline, it challenges your family. It doesn't matter how much bling, gold, commodity, possession, material wealth, muscle, strength, all of that. It doesn't matter how big your clique is, your crew, your street corner, your manor, your straps, your everything that you've got there on the underground. You guys need to know this. You need to know when the legal system comes for you, any of you, 99.98 of you, you don't know what we found out. And this is going to be quite a shock to some of you. It's quite a revelation, literally Revelations is coming up. So we're going to talk about the first trust. When I've mentioned Pope Innocent, no, not Pope Innocent, cataloguing, searching, indexing, Pope Boniface, Unum Sanctum 1300, we're going back to that. This picture is referenced the first trust created in 1302 by the Roman cult. Grantor, God, entrusted the earth, plane, whatever you want to call it, realm to the Vatican for safekeeping, yet somehow entrusted his executor powers to Venice. Point one to note what they claim. Executor, Venice, through the Franciscan friars, Foxtrot, Romeo, Alpha, November, Charlie, Indigo, Sierra, Charlie, Alpha, November, Franciscan friars. Trust expressed through papal bull, Unum Sanctum, claiming the whole world is subject to the pontiff. Beneficiary, Christians of the world. Trustee, Roman pontiff. Once issued, a true papal bull can never be rescinded unless the bull contradicts previous forbidden act, in which case it is null, void, and not a bull. So that's some interesting trust relationship going down right there, in the form of the alleged proclaimed public. As this going on, you know, it's here, it's there to find. The picture above is referenced to first trust, claimed trust. This is also in the Bible. Jesus of Nazareth and his disciples, they were also maybe considered to be perhaps such things as trustees. Also, we have a reference of the fish and the coin for the taxman, previously mentioned by Brother Richard Ansar. I can't quote the gospel book edition thingy because I've lost it. The first trust have been created in 1302 by the Roman cult. If you follow Brother Santos Bonacci, you will know. Big love to that brother. Let's take a look at a real trust, the first trust allegedly created in his story and how it may work, or is proclaimed to work. Battery is looking good. I'm trying not to go really fast, and I am quite excited, so apologies guys. I've got loads to do. This is taking too long. Let's take a look at a real trust. If you've not yet seen it, please go and search and view the coat of arms used by the Franciscans, as the Franciscans happen to have been created by the Venetians. See our other videos and get up to speed. This is old news now. In fact, it's ancient. The whole history of the Franciscans, including France, is unfortunately a huge myth, sadly. It is an interesting story though. We are meant to be the animals, by the way. If you read the story in Francis, loving the animals, we were meant to be the animals, but that's their crest, and I've pressed up because, as I've said, they do not hide who they claim to be in charge or whom they are. They do not need to be. As we saw in the Matrix production, Woman does not want to know. We try and tell him. So the establishment have no qualms about putting the Franciscan crest at the top and, you know, telling you and proclaiming it, and into that in the coat of arms, no crest. If one looks at the crest, go online and search for it, you will see the 3 crowns of the 3 trusts. Oh, I put the wrong thing on the page there. I'm going to show you the Franciscan crest in a bit later on. The 3 crowns and the 3 trusts. It's on this page. It looks, if you search for it, it looks something like that, alright, but it's going to be coming up soon. Go online and search for it. You will see the 3 crowns of the 3 trusts created, and you have the whole structure of the Roman cult, the Roman Catholic Church, which they created. You can even see a red flag. Have you heard of the Jesuits? Yes, you have, from me. Some might have previously said or claimed that it is in fact the Jesuits that are in control of the world. The Jesuits that are in control of the world. Well, now, whom created the Jesuits, I hear you ask? Well, it seems that they were created in Venice, and the Jesuits are part of the ruling elite. You can see it on the left lower section of the coat of arms. The Jesuit flag is shown in the crest of the Franciscans. They continue to tell you who's in charge. They even tell you and show you in plain sight. If you hear people on the radio and TV, etc., remarking that the Jesuits are not involved and they're not in control, there is no order of any kind of such nature. It's, you know, you can direct them to myself and this video and the document you're about to receive. So we put the Franciscans as the executives. And the Venetians, via the Franciscan friars, created this trust, and the trust was expressed via papal bull, Unum Sanctum, claiming the world the whole world is subject to the pontiff, and the beneficiaries are Christians. The trustee is the Roman pontiff, and God the planet. Oh, and God as the grantor settler, and the planet, the plan et, is the res. Here's another type of trust, a testamentary trust. You have all heard about a last will and testament. 'Cause I am an educator. It is one of the few public service announcements that the bar does. Or you will need a will. They will tell you you require a will. So you got a testator, an executor, will and testament, some dead body relative. A testamentary trust starts once a testator dies. You have a trustee or administrator, fictional right of use of property, the trust, the res, the beneficiary. So we're going into a will and testament now. It's one of the few public services announcement. Yeah, if you're not happy with the cards you have been dealt, woe man must learn to use his will to change the direction. Man must learn to organise as efficiently as those who are currently running the elite Zionist agendas against man. You know why? If you do not have a will, then you are what's called in probate. They will not inform you of this, and they won't inform you that you have two estates effectively. You're creating a testamentary trust, a testamentary estate. And when you were born, they created a CQV trust, a life estate. Unless you structure your will accordingly that you have these life estates and these testamentary estates, then they get you on probate when you're alive and when you die, as you have not given instruction on how all this mess works. Now, on the final, right, so that's important, because this week we're looking at ecclesiastical deed poll using canons. Before we give you this instrumentation and we take you down this, we need to first immerse you. I feel the responsibility, I feel the urgency. I see man committing suicide because of all this craziness that's going on, so we need it now, yesterday. But we're not going to take you down a path of which you don't understand, cognize, or realize the implied actions, and you need to be of what is the competent. That's the key part of this, the competence, the skill, the cognition, just, right and proper. I have that burden, responsibility, and we will facilitate that, and that's what this digital learning is. So these videos will be broadcast in the future private, going forward through the .com and into the private Facebook domain, and we're going to give you in advance documents, and you're going to have them in front of you, and then we're going to have a live interactive study session right there and then with regards to the training and the schedules and stuff that's coming on, and that's in line for you. And there's many different formats of which we've got, but we can't give you the training, because the courses, because we need you to be up with us and protected, and we need to be prioritizing what we're doing. So this comes above it, I'm afraid. Before you learn about that, we'll incorporate the courses into some of this. So the courses are actually being given to you live and direct now, rather than you have to wait. So those that are waiting for courses, welcome. So if you're not happy, man must learn to organise. You know why? Yeah. If you don't have a will, then you are what's called probate. They will not inform you of this. They won't inform you that you have two estates effectively. You're creating a testamentary trust, testamentary estate, and when you were born, the CQV trust that they created, a life estate. Unless you structure that accordingly, that you have these life estates and the testamentary estates, then they get you on probate when you're alive, and when you die, as you have not given instruction on how this mess works. Note, the final ledger, your tombstone, your final act in life is to exit this realm as the all caps public person, and this is reflected within the ancient Latin text depicting your public all caps name, final act, died in public status, and the estates are now claimed under the salvage systems, and the trusts have now been dissolved. See, Romanian man returns home to find out he is legally dead and his land estates have been closed. 2017 November approximately. They are creating a mess, and they won't explain it to you on how you to make it work. They do say to you, you will need a will, but not a lot more in substance. A testamentary trust forms a trust where the testator, you, expresses verbally, auricular, again, remember, auricular, expressed. The testamentary trust forms a trust where the testator, you, expresses verbally, auricular, again. This is where the word testamental comes from. Test your mental. Don't even We have much to cover, Famalan. This is what it was. It was not called a will, it was called a testamentary in the Roman history, and then memorialised by our testament. Upon the death, the property is managed accordingly. So you write a will, you pass away, the will says who is executor, the trust comes into play, all your property is in there, the trustee is appointed by the executor, and then there are sets of beneficiaries, which is why the role of what's going on in the role of I hate it when I lose that my space. In the role of the general executor, you will hear people remark with fairly feeble responses when we try to explain this current trust system, but nonetheless, it is a response. You might hear people say, you can't be the general executor as you're not dead yet. Well, that is true for the property that is visible in my estate. Now I have a life estate as well. I have the quasi and the CQV estates. We are aware that there are, as we hold the birth cert and the all caps name, it is all around us. It is in plain sight. I've got a funny feeling that, no it hasn't, the volume didn't go. Let's have it, brother. I told you, creator, this is on. This is the master print. I'm quite emotional, I don't mind telling you. Let's have it. Note the final ledger. Romanian man. Testamentary. We don't even have much to cover. That is where the word testamento, yeah, that's what it was called. Upon the death, the property is managed accordingly. So you write a will, you pass away, they say who is executor, trustee, executor, set of beneficiaries, current system. You might hear people say, but you can't be the general executor as you're not dead yet. That is true for the property that is visible. In my estate now, I have a life estate. Well, we have the quasi and the CQV, the quasi trust, CQV trust, estates, kind of, you know. We are aware they are there. As we hold the birth certificate, we have done tests. Helen, not Helen, the woman in America, Treasury Direct, Harvey Dent, to name a few, expert in all legal matters, Steve McRae, what he's put and brought out there. It's all around us. It is in plain sight. We're just having difficulty, tangible difficulty now articulating this, getting on to the right page, and everybody understanding or cognising the same principle process around all this. So we are aware they are there. As we hold the birth certificate and the all caps name, it is all around us. It is there in plain sight. Well, if they will not tell us, we are permitted to appoint a general executor for that, because the judge in court is claiming that he's the executor of the estate or a beneficiary in our given and family names. The first testamentary trust was created in 1455, so we have some of the usual suspects, some new suspects that have come onto the chessboard, and here's the pontiff again. So now the pontiff is the grantor, granting rights of use from that wonderful unum sanctum, and then appoints executor. An executor, the executor is the Roman curia. Charlie Uniform Romeo Indigo Alpha, it's the government, so it's the elite roles within the Vatican. The trustees are the College of Cardinals, and the beneficiary is the Prince of Papal Land. The first crown, remember that coat of arms above the Franciscans, there's a series of crowns there amongst the ivory and the olives. So we go to the ivory and the olives, and there's a series of crowns on the ivory and the olives, 3 stacked up there on the Franciscan. Ordo Fraternum Minovum. Minovum. Don't know. The first testamentary trust was created the year 1455. Papal bull, Romanis Pontifex, Roman Pontiff, Crown, Pope Nicholas in 1455. Grantor, rights of use, Roman Pontiff from Unum Sanctum 1302. Executor, Roman Curia. Trustee, College of Cardinals. Beneficiary, Prince Monarch over Papal Land until 2011. 2011. Romanus Pontifex has remained the master trust of modern testamentary trusts. Just a quick sneak preview, don't worry. Canon, controversy in law. Back to the beginning. 75% of the way through. 10 pages left. 1 hour 14. The crown shown in the beneficiary position in the trust. Maybe I might need to refer back to that. Wait there. Crown shown in the beneficiary position in the trust. That one. Crown is down here. Crown beneficiary position in that trust. The crown shown in the beneficiary position in the trust is the first crown from the Franciscan coat of arms. The first crown of credit. Second gets crowned in 1481, papal bull, attorney regis, eternal crown. The grantor is the pontiff. Another one, next one, we're moving fast now, I'm fast and furious. Second testamentary trust, created 1481, papal bull, attorney regis, eternal crown, Pope Sixtus in 1481. Grant right of use of Roman pontiff from unum sanctum 1302. Executor, again Roman curia. People as chattel, property and infants. Trustee, College of Cardinals again. Beneficiary, prince monarch over infants, people. Who's in the res? Who's in the res? Commoners, people. Res, public, persons. And the Roman curia is executor. The people are the res, or property. So, first is the land that gets called common land, crown land, her crown land. Well, that's the land claimed in that first master trust. The trust's master trust. Master trust. The trusts again, College of Cardinals, yeah, the beneficiary is now the prince over infants. So we are considered infants, are we? I now refer you to our previous commentary on the Hangouts, and with reference to the nanny state being considered an infant in the eyes of a judiciary in law when being represented at court. We are considered infants in their system. Parens patrie, P-A-R-E-N-S, space P-A-T-R-I-A-E, parens patrie. Have you heard of that before? Parens patrie. The right of the fowler. Although it is an old claim, basically it says you're too childish and too stupid to really handle your own affairs as settler, creditor, adlodial title owner, blah, 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 blah. So the state will handle it for our benefit. Husbandry role. The third testamentary trust was created in 1537. Because I am an educator and Elizabeth is not telling us properly. You indoctrinated me and now you took my kids away from me and I found out who I am. There's a dog next door and he's having a toilet. Wow, such a poignant moment in life. There's a dog next door's garden answering the call of nature. No. The third testamentary trust, 1537, papal bull, convocation by Paul III, 1537, possibly 1534. Yet to be confirmed. Pope Innocent III, yeah, I've mentioned this, you've got me on that. Grantor, rights of use, Roman pontiff from unum sanctum 1302. Executor, Roman curia. People's spirit, soul, transubstantiated into gold. What did I say? Transubstantiated into gold. Trustee, the College of Cardinals again. Beneficiary, prince and defender of faith. What did I say? Rewind selector, prince and defender of faith is the beneficiary. What's the property in the res on that one? Gold bullion. Right, now I'm going to try and explain this as articulately and concisely as I can. I've written it down. I'm not going to deviate from that. This is important to get this verbatim. God, I need a cigarette. The third testamentary trust was created in 1537 and starts to get even more strange, some more occult stuff. The grantor in the trust demonstrated above is the Pope again. The executives are the Roman Curia, Trust, College of Cardinals, Trustees, College of Cardinals. But the beneficiary and the beneficiary is the prince and defender of the faith. And there is only one defender of the faith appointed, created. We need to confirm this. Something's telling me Prince Charles. That's something's telling me, not that it is. Don't take that as read. No papal bull you may have seen or will see on the internet is real, okay? I'm telling you this as my intent as honourable man. Wait, why? They are all, in my opinion, a corruption of the original instruments. We cannot see an original papal bull because up until the 18th century, the real ones were written on human skin. It would be a problem when the Vatican, the house of God, starts to reveal documents written on human skin, particularly with the DNA testing facility we have, and find out that it's alleged and purported it is not on adult skin, it is on infants' skin. So the Prince and Defender of Faith is all about salvation. Salvation. We're coming back round again. Salvation is what? Salvation, salvage, admiralty, maritime. What do you think the most valuable thing to you and I and us is? It's to this system that runs on curses and supernatural. It's not your time. Trust me now. It's connected to your time. It's your souls. Exactly. The flesh corrupts. The mind can be and is and has been manipulated. But what's the one thing that is never incompetent? What did I say at the page section 1? I said there was something we have, you know, an essence that cannot be incompetent. There's something about a tribunal, yeah? Try our souls. So they are after our souls. They are using black law, black magic, blacks, you know, occult. And they have invented a concept. They use it as part of the Eucharist. Yes, when you go to Mass, what's the water and the wine? What is it supposed to convert into? The, you know, the blood and the body of Christ. The word for it is transubstantiation. Exactly, a doctrine, a transubstantiation, all right? In other words, something in one physical or spiritual form that can shift or have the ability to shift into another physical or spiritual form. So something physical can become spiritual, and something spiritual may indeed become physical. Are you all aware of how much they have an obsession with gold? Yes, we are. And how much they have it stashed in the Vatican. What do you think the gold is representative of in light of what I have just uncovered to you so far? And with regards to not transhumanism, but transubstantiation. The gold stashed where it is in vaults. It's not open. It's not accessible. It's not for the common good. It's not the commonwealth. It's in penitentiaries. It's people's souls. It's representative of people's souls, my brothers and sisters. So man's killing himself because he owes alleged debt. And the house of God's got the gold that can pay off. You're about to find out. I'll continue on. Today, there is a bank. The Bank of International Settlements. Yeah, it's in Basel, Switzerland. Bravo, Indigo, Sierra. Not the International Monetary Fund. Indigo, Mikey, Foxtrot. Founded 1931 with a gold supply that equated roughly to 55 to 60,000 tons of bullion. And then they say that they had it converted into francs, Swiss francs. If they'd have done that, they'd still be minting them today. All this gold is obtained from wars, lies, deception. What they did with that gold was quite brilliant. They architected a global depression. They got the banks to call in the loans, and every country went bankrupt. And rather than touching the gold that was put into place for this global curse system, this modified financial fiat perpetual debt slavery system that has us running like ferrets on wheels, slaving away every day and committing suicide. Snooze that. Don't break anything. What? Go away. Never. I'll put it on aeroplane mode, but it's still, you get through to me. There are ways. What I did with that gold was quite brilliant. They architected a global depression, got the banks to call in the loans, and every country went bankrupt. And rather than touching the gold that was put in place for this global curse system, this modified financial fiat perpetual debt slavery system that has us running like ferrets on wheels, slaving away every day, they started writing loans and money against the gold in order to prop up people. Then issued a system of debt collection, which is called the taxation offices, ship, admiralty, maritime, and they instituted a set of private banks that then were put in charge of producing the fiat money, the supply of the money to those countries, reserve and central banks. The Bank of Rothschild and Windsor, the Bank of England is a what? Private bank, isn't it? The Federal Bank of America, and all the other central banks across the continents. Too high, unable to charge. Whoa. That's all right then, we'll take this out a minute. I might have to move it. Hang on, let's just, the sun is creeping on. Here, live, on set, the sovereign manuscript. We are overheating. That's all right, I think. Yeah. Come on, tube. Oh, wow. No ego. It's all live and direct. It's raw. It's untamed. And then, like ferrets, the idea as well, the corporation structure of the world was put into place as well, with the Securities Act of 1933. So the whole modern system came in that period. The ideas and legal framework was way back in the 16th century. One of the products from this idea was another type of trust. So we've done express trust, living trust, testamentary trust. We're seeing the big ones. Another type of trust is the CQV and the quasi trust. CQV is a fancy way of saying for the benefit or life of another. CQV. What we got here then? CQV Trust 1540 1540. CQV means, yeah, as a kind of temporary testamentary trust, first created 1540. All right, first created. Man or woman presumed lost, abandoned, infant, lunatic, incompetent or dead. Executor, king or queen's bench. Trustee, government. Beneficiary, person or holder of certificate which may or may not be man or woman in whose name it was created. I'll screenshot on that, I suppose. Get this shortly. You'll get this soon, don't worry. CQV is a kind of temporary testamentary trust, and its design is that when somebody is presumed lost or abandoned, presumed incompetent, an infant, then a trust can be formed for their benefit, and upon their return at the ucking age of majority, they can administer their own affairs. But in the meantime, for the first time in history, the government, everybody, the government could get its hands on them assets. So do you see the legal precedent of what the CQV and quasi-trusts are like and how they interact and work? Yes, Dave Witcher, we do indeed. Thank you, Dave Witcher, for nothing. Nowadays, we become reliant on central governments. Back in the 16th century, I can assure you that if someone from King Henry Court went down to the local shire and said, oh, well, we will take that farm, I think there'd be an armed standoff there and then, even with the land barons, because what legal right could the government use to say that they are going to manage and take that farm property? No, absolutely no. We're telling you now. Remember the man that was in the news ago? He shot a teenager who was on his, was it Tony somebody? The farmer, he changed the law. My mum was in the uni at the time and she was interested in defending his property. Buckshot, kid at the window, bang, kind of shot him in the back. He'd been getting plagued for months. Have a look at that. We are. Do you think that would happen to take that farm and property? No, absolutely no. Until this idea, this clever, deceptive, deceitful idea, yes, of managing it for your benefit, we will do it for you because you're lost or abandoned. Now, we have all abandoned property and life estates managed through the Queen's Bench of the Court in the Trust of the United Kingdom. In USA Inc., it is King's Bench of Philadelphia, I believe, some might say. And in Australia, it is managed through the Queen's Bench of the Court. So be the Queen's Bench of Supreme Court of New South Wales. Ding! Our top answer was yes. We asked 1,000 sovereigns that question, and that's what's coming back. I've also looked at some of the higher court systems and the way around it. It can be corrected if you can, if any of this can be corrected, it will be corrected. Put it like that. If there aren't any errors or omissions or mistakes, it's getting corrected, all right? One court in each country that are considered or are effectively acting as trustees that handle all this abandoned property. Whilst we struggle in the rat race, here we go, eye of creator, sovereigns, we are getting sick and we are committing suicide. www.splspro.com and Sovereign Paralegals Express Private Trust will give you your remedy for the CQV and your maintenance going forward. Use the key you obtained at the age of majority of 21 and open up your chests. Old pirates, yes, they are by from the merchant ships. Now, the reason I justify as being abandoned is that you haven't claimed it, I haven't claimed it, we haven't stood up, we have accepted everything they have said, the establishment. Do you want to be a slave or to be considered less than a slave? Sure, give me a license and call me mister. These are called pray omens, prone omens in Roman history. Praying omens mean something. They mean that you are a debt bond. Mister comes from miser, and miser in Latin, Roman, means bonded debt slave. Sir is a title that you do not want, and as the silent majority are seemingly happy to live this way, if you tolerate this, then your children will be next. Not my children, not our offspring, our property. The silent majority are seemingly happy to live this way in ignorance. The government are then quite happy to manage thus property. They do not claim to own you in that sense of slavery. The corporations are different. They don't have moral, they're not higher, they're just different. The corpses have lost the plot completely, and they abuse property. They absolutely abuse it. There are no questions, no qualms. They are abusing the property. Frack off. But the Commonwealth, the Queen and the hierarchy is still claiming it as a service because it's abandoned. The beneficiary may or not be you. You did not benefit from the bonds they produced. You're after the bonds they produced. You haven't benefited from them yet. Upon you being born, but the government has. You have not benefited from other instruments derived from that, but the government has. When you're asked to pay tax, did you know that the tax is paid twice if you actually pay? Council tax, here we come. Income tax, here we go. Because anything that is brought forward in your name is a claim. I was going to leave this out, but Richard gave me this for free. I'm going to pass it on to you for free. That's the circle, equates back round. So didn't have to put this in. Honourability and intent. This is a live video transmission. It's now 17:11 on the 26th of June, the year of 2018. This is my testamentary to this documentation and evidence, yes, and to the family that's provided this. So it's going in, and it's recorded, and it's staying in. It's getting backed up, I imagine, by quite a few hundred viewers out of my 2,200 or whatever, 2020. When you're asked to pay taxes, did you know that the tax is paid twice if you are paying with sweat equity to these equity thieves? Because anything that is brought forward in that name, your name, is a claim, particularly if it's an institution against your estate. It means that after 90 days, if it is uncontested, it gets paid by the estate. What you pay, which is usually the same amount, is just cream on the top, double dicking, double-edged banking. I can't think of all the quotes now. We've got them and said them. Double ledger, double entry bookkeeping. There are some quotes from America when it stated income tax derived from the population does not go to the general revenue. You say to people, how could you do that? We always seem to have money to run the country. This is being managed through the estate system in the background, much like when you go to hospital. The money that we pay, which is in the most valuable contribution you can ever pay, sweat equity, is then collected up by the debt collection tax agency, agents, and send up to the IMF, and then back to, that's right. That is right. Yes, you've got it. The Vatican. Remember that gold and the Bank of International Settlements and those people, the Vatican, precious, my gold money, in God we trust. I will, do what, shank and murder and rape and pillage. It's nasty what's happening. The desperation, there's guys drowning in boats trying to get out of continents, death boats they're called. They hoard it. In God we trust, eh? This is what's value right here. This is the value. This now. This bit here. Well done to the 16 and 13 viewers, total of 20, 26, 27, 28, 29. I'm about to hit over 1,000 views in 24 hours. I can feel it. They have accounts on this planet that could pay all of the alleged global debt tomorrow. And they've not just trillions left over, but hundreds of trillions left over. Ready? People who are the people, the clans, the Jesuits, the cardinals, the establishment, whom are in charge, are so sick, sated with the precious money as a god, they refuse to balance it out, and rather they would see our communities and lives destroyed rather than fix it. Fact. Estates are a statutory body of a trust. It is connected. It is a concept created in the 16th century by King Henry VIII, merely to divide the property of the trust into two basic categories: real property and personal property. So your body is real property, land is real property, gold, clothes, etc., personal property. An estate is always connected to a trust. And if you want a comparison between an estate, right, this is the last bit, and it was about 12:30 here, so this may need an amendment. I've looked at it, and I'm still a bit fried, to be honest. As you can imagine, compiling this, it's a privilege and an honour. A privilege and an honour. And if you want a comparison between an estate and a corporation, a corpse is from a body corporate, and a body corporate really was the property of a trust. So whether you view it as a corporation or whether you view it as an estate is really on how you want to split the hairs. But an estate is a statutory structure created within UK statutes in treating the property, the body corporate, the corporation, in dividing into real and personal property. Yes, finished it. We're finished. Key competency training is over. That is an interesting little bit to look at. It really is. The Franciscans, the Medici, Santos Bonacci. I need to speak to Santos. Somebody out there's got to hook me up with Santos. YouTube, get this to Santos, please, and tell him thank you. Tell him we love him. Tell him that the family is so strong now. We have got this sovereign manuscript for mankind. That's a gift to my unborn lineage, your unborn lineage. That's from you to you. That's from the past yous to you. That's in memory of all the speakers, all the fallen ones, all of the blood, the battles, the treaties, the declarations of war, the acts, the bills, the statutes, the regulation, the tears, the suicides, the misery, the sleepless nights, the endless amounts of pharmaceuticals you're throwing down your neck, the pints of beer, the amount of come out and punch something. That is your remedy there. If anybody's got anything to say, you want to rip that apart and shoot me down, I implore it. I welcome it. I'll arrange a Google Hangout. We're having it as soon as possible. Eye of Creator, SPO's family, in front of the Creator, in honour, with clean hands, under the the equitable principles as I've outlined in that fist bump. I'd like to read the comments out, but we've got too many, and I need a drink and everything, so I'm just going to cut it. We will now finish this. It's done. We'll leave it at that, and we'll come back and have a chat independently at separate times. I have bookings on the video chat, at least 3 hours to chat through. Then I'll play catch up. Delone, this one, Dodgy Doctors, that one. I've sent you an email. Please check that. You've got a date to check. Other guys and gals, admins and everything else, the governor will be about later. But that has taken now 25 hours and 4:30 yesterday. 25 hours, let me think, because numbers are important. 25 hours and 17 minutes. 25:17 then, so that's how many hours that's done. From 4:30 yesterday, I had a sleep from 2 a.m. until about 9:30, and I got straight back on it, and this is all I've done. I haven't got in touch with anybody, I haven't spoke to anybody, I haven't looked at a notification. I've obsessed over that. I'm Greg, technician. This is the download from Indigo, and the admins and the group and the consciousness. Amazing, absolutely outstanding. And we have been to a magistrates in Oxford and presented and had the case claims discharged. So we have got first-hand knowledge. We have got successes and wins. If you didn't catch the latest news, the healthcare professional DWP assessment that the man had that we helped advise got 0 points, guys. 0, nil point from the government directory, body corporate, healthcare professional. We've put that through the HMCTS as a direct claim, handling the capacities, to the Her Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Services. They've looked at that at the first tier level of court, and they've awarded a maximum of 50. No, they awarded 30 points from 0. They gave him 15, and they've told the Attorney General, is it the Secretary of State, not the Attorney General, they've advised in the paperwork for the court tribunal paperwork at a hearing, they've said that it's highly advised that they leave this guy alone for 24 months whilst they look at the he gets healed, because he went to the tribunal with supporting documentary evidence from hospital consultants, orthopedics, surgeons, medical, GP, and his own testimony, as you're finding out, and they rejected it and said, you can press a button, you can get to work. We've since found out we've got systems that we can use to rebut that. The tribunal put in their paperwork the information and evidence that they relied upon heavily to make that decision was in the court bundle, was in the court pack. It was already present. It just means that you've got it, you know it, you go and enforce it, you become the litigant in person, in effect, in some cases, and you win, you get the result. It's not internet generated, it's not hocus pocus, and that is the reason and belief behind everything that we do, and for the future going forward. I rest my case. We do one of these and I'm signing off. All right, that's just absolved every sin I've ever done. That's my work for you, your work, the lot. Anybody that's involved in that, anybody that shares this, anybody that promotes it, interest, gets on a hangout, criticizes it, corrects it, makes it stronger, you're going to get into this too. So it's there, it's in the public domain. Bear with me, you'll see me soon. Ciao bello. Let's go, peace and love.